All right, so this video is to review percentiles as well as box plots. So the front, we're going to review our percentiles, and then for the back, we'll review our box plots. So when making a percentile, this is kind of the formula we'll use here. We look at how many numbers are below whatever value we're given, divided by the total numbers there are, and then multiply by 100. So in our example, here's our data, and it wants me to find the 26th percentile. So I'm going to figure out how many numbers are below 26. So we don't count 26, we would just count everything below that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to take 7 divided by how many numbers there are. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's 15 numbers total. And then multiply by 100. So 7 divided by 15 times 100 would give me 46.67%. Which would mean that that value, 26, is in the 46th percentile. So then for 35, same thing. I would look at all the numbers less than 35. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Divided by my total, which was 15. And multiply by 100. So here I would get 73.3%. So a score of 35 would put you in the 73rd percentile. Now, if I was trying to find what score or what number would put me in a certain percentile, we're going to take the percentage, divide it by 100, and then multiply it by how many total numbers there are. So this is kind of the formula we're going to use for this. So if I have a list of data and I'm looking for what number would put me in the 20th percentile, right? I want to be in the 20th percentile, so I take 20, divide it by 100, and then I multiply by how many numbers there are. So I'm still looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 numbers. So 20 divided by 100 times 15 says that a score of 3 would put me in, I'm sorry, not a score of 3. This is my mistake. The placement of 3 would put me in the 20th percentile. So what that means, this is not my answer. That means I need to go to the 3rd and 4th spot and average those two values. Remember, when we get a whole number, we're going to go to the 3rd and the spot after it and average these two answers. So I go to 3 and 4, and I add them up and divide by 2. So I'd end up with 17.5. A score of 17.5 would put me in the 20th percentile. Okay, so then if we look at our next one, what number is in the 64th percentile? We use our same equation, 64 divided by 100 times 15. And I get 9.6. Now remember, when we get a decimal, we're going to round it up to 10 and just find that location. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 31 would be the correct spot here. So a score of 31 would put me in the 64th percentile. All right, so pause this video. The next two examples are exactly the same as these two. So pause the video and try to do those on your own, and then I'll just quickly show the answers to see if you did them right. All right, so if you tried these on your own, yeah, so for my first one, what is in the 34th percentile? 10 divided, there was 10 numbers less than 34, so 10 divided by 22 times 100 gave me 45.45. And then the 50th percentile, there were 20 numbers less than 50. So 20 divided by 22 times 100 would give me 90.9 or 91 if we wanted to round up. So then what number is in the 30th percentile? So I take 30 divided by 100 multiplied by 22. I get 6.6, so I go to the 7th spot on my list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's the value 31. For the number in the 50th percentile, I'm going to take 50 divided by 100, multiply by 22. I get 11, so when I get a whole number, remember that means we have to go to 11 and 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, and average those two values. So 35 plus 37 divided by 2 gives you 36. And then our last one's below. So hopefully you were able to do some of these correctly on your own as we prepare for our test. So the percentile of 21 is 40%. Percentile of 28 is 80%. To be in the 58th percentile, is that what my paper says? The 58th percentile, I would need a score of 23. To be in the 75th percentile, yeah, I got 15, so I had to go to 20, 15, and 16 spot and average those. So I needed a 25.5. All right, so let's go ahead and turn our paper over and look at our box plot. So remember, there are 5 things you need in order to make your box plot. I'm going to do one example where I don't use a calculator and then one example where I do use a calculator, just so you can see the difference. So this first example has a lot more data points than the second one. So I'm actually going to put this one into my calculator. So remember, to do that, we're going to go stat over to edit. So in my calculator, I hit stat, edit, and then to clear, I go over L1, hit clear and enter. I'm going to type all of these values into list 1. So 15, 21. Even if they repeat, I have to type them in twice. Okay, so I typed all of my values into list 1. So then if I hit stat, go over to calc, and then pick 1, which is our 1 var stats. So stat, go over to calc, 1 var stats. It's all in list 1. If I scroll down, it tells me those 5 things that I need. So my minimum is 15. My Q1 is 30. My median was 37. My Q3 is 46. And my maximum is 86. So now I can graph this. Remember, to graph, we just need a number line that's consistently scaled. So for instance, I usually count by tens. And it's just so that everything is the correct size off of each other, that everything is kind of based off of the same distance. Every distance is represented the same. So we put our minimum and our maximum. Oh, I needed to go to 90. And our maximum. And then our Q1 through Q3 makes our box. It's about 46. All right, that's the value Q1, Q3. This is our min. This is our max. We connect these, and then we draw a line through this at our median. And that would be our box plot. I don't have any reason, I don't know what this data is of to make a title, but remember, you should have a title. If your data has a meaning to it, you should have a title. So then we want to check if we have any outliers. So we would take our interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. So 46 minus 30 would tell us that our interquartile range is 16. And then we're going to do both of these formulas to see if there are any outliers. So Q3 is 46 plus 1.5 times 16 And then Q1 is 30 minus 1.5 times 16. So when I solve those, 46 plus 1.5 is 70, and 30 minus 1.5 times 16 is 6. So if my values are between 6 and 70, they are good. If they're outside of that, they would be considered outliers. So all of these are fine except for, right, 86 is an outlier. Good. So again, we can find that information on our calculator. If we didn't want to find it on our calculator, we can still do it by hand, right? These numbers are in order, so that makes it really easy for us. Our minimum is our smallest number. Our maximum is our largest number. So then to find our median, we find the number in the middle. So I would go to try to find the number in the middle. So in this case, I have two numbers in the middle. Luckily, they're the same. So when I average them, right, 21 plus 21 divided by 2, I would get a median of 21. That is cutting your information, right? Your median is cutting your graph in half between those two values. It's not a specific number that's the middle, right? In our last example, 37 was the middle. So if I was to then go find my Q1 and Q3 from that, I would not use 37. I would use these numbers on this side of 37 and these numbers on this side of 37. But the number in the middle doesn't usually get used unless it's an even amount of data and you cut it in half between two values. So then when I go to find the middle of each side, on this side I get two numbers in the middle, which means on this side I will also get two numbers in the middle, and I just average those out. So 16 plus 17 divided by 2, 16.5. 25 plus 26 divided by 2, 25.5. Good. So then we can make our picture. So again, we just want a number line. I don't know why I did a line like that. We make a number line that's consistent in size. You can count by whatever you want, but 10 seems to work pretty well. My largest number was 30, so I really didn't even need to go that far. So actually, I'm going to count by 5s, so my graph's a little bit bigger. So this will be 10, 15, 25. Okay. So then I mark my minimum is 12. My maximum is 32. 16.5 to 25.5 is my box with a line through it at 21. And there's my box plot on this really messy page that I made. All right, so now when I check for outliers, first I need to find my interquartile range. So that would be Q3 minus Q1. So 25.5 minus 16.5 would give me 9. So then I'm going to do Q3 plus 1.5 times my IQR and Q1 minus 1.5 times my IQR. So here I'll do 25.5 plus 1.5 times 9. And here I'll do 16.5 minus 1.5 times 9. So 25.5 plus 1.5 times 9 would give me 39. 16.5 plus 1.5 times 9 gives me, or minus 1.5 times 9 gives me 7.5. Gives me 3. 16 minus 1.5 times 9 would give me 3. Okay, so all of my values are between 3 and 39, so I would have no outliers. Good. All right, so go ahead and check this bottom one. Again, you could use your calculator or you can solve it by hand, but I'll run through the answers after, and you can see if you made the correct box plot. So hopefully you tried this on your own, and if you did, yes, I got my minimum was 6. My Q1 was 50.5. My median was 58. My Q3 was 6.75. My maximum was 75. So I drew my box plot. I did my interquartile range, 67.5 minus 50.5. I calculated my outlier numbers, right? I did my Q3 plus 1.5 times my IQR, my Q1 minus 1.5 times my IQR. So all of my numbers I wanted between 25 and 93, so that made 6 an outlier. So hopefully that was a good review of percentiles and box plots as we prepare for your test.